proposing to make this happen very, very easily, although it can be done now as it is Sakai today. So Resources is a robust and powerful Sakai tool capable of managing large amounts of information in an easy and effective manner. However, it lacks pedagogically and user-friendly presentation capabilities that instructors need to be able to easily present their content in an engaging and meaningful way. Currently, Resources content is presented in a series of folders. Students need to browse through these folders to access course content with little clue other than the folder title about what the content is, how it relates to other content, and how and what it refers to. The changes proposed here will enable instructors to easily create alternative views of their already existing Resources content. So to do this, you don't have to change anything at all. Well, you have to maybe change a few things, but it's something that you can start doing right away. So I like to use the following analogy. So we all like to go to the web and read the internet, and we read our newspaper, whichever it is, but how about if we wake up one morning and instead of seeing this, we see this? So more than one would get up, get the phone, and call the New York Times and say, what is happening today? There is something going on. There is something wrong. However, when we present this to our students, we think it's just all right. That is fine. That's the way it is. But it doesn't need to be. So our students could be seeing something like this right away today. There are several hacks that I'm happy to share with you after the session because I don't have time to explain them here. They are easy. You don't have to be a whiz, an internet whiz to make this happen right away. So this is my live course. This is my live course. And here again, I can go to Resources and see this. And actually, what you saw earlier in the image is all in this folder. Or I can go to the link that I created here using the web content tool and display my resources like this. So I can embed a video that is working. And if it doesn't work, it's YouTube's fault, because it's a YouTube video. Or I could ask my students to go and complete a quiz right here. Okay? Or I could go and tell them to take a look at the content of the course. For example, something to look like this. Okay, so pretty much this is what I'm trying to advocate today. Start teaching faculty how to do this. It would increase tremendously student experience. It would help everyone, I think. And then to all those who do know how to code, I have some proposals of how to create 2 tools or three tools, hacking existing tools that will make this very, very, very easy to do. The problem now is that you can try to teach faculty how to do this, but not everybody is going to be open to it because you have to do some workarounds. But there are 2 improvements that could be done to existing tools, to repurpose those tools, that could make this extremely easy to happen. So that was my talk, and I was within time. And my colleague said that I could not make it within the 5 minutes, but I've done it.
Thank you, Aurora. Little change in sequence. Francesca, if you would come up next. Yes, Alan's going to volunteer to let other people go ahead of him. So if you want to come up and get get it done. To talk about Francesca Socolick of NYU will be talking about tools.
Oh, is this Aurora? Sure.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
All right. Just give me a few minutes or seconds. Is there a dongle?
Do you need a VGA one?
Yes.
I have to say thank you for the dongle.
That was also me stalling to put my slide deck together. I think I signed up to do this at around 7:30 this morning. You're welcome. Okay. So what I'm going to be focusing on, I think I have 5 minutes. Right? I can do this. Okay, 5 minutes. So I'm not going to be talking about a specific tool. What I'm going to be focusing on is an approach that I've learned as an instructional designer, and really how to encourage faculty to feel more confident in why they want to use technology within their course, and also to incorporate it into their, if you want to call it, course design habits. So when I first started out as an instructional designer, I was an instructional designer for a group of children nutrition educators at Columbia University. I worked with them for about 2 years to develop professional development resources that K-8 teachers can integrate into their science curriculum to help children eat their vegetables. And so if you think of, well, how does, children eating vegetables and faculty using technology in the classroom, I don't really see any relationship there. But I see a huge relationship there. So if I'm trying to get little Sally to eat her broccoli, that might be Professor Smith to use a question pool the right way, right? So at the end, there's going to be some net benefit for Sally to eat her vegetables and for Professor so-and-so to use a question pool the right way. But how do you motivate someone to change their habits? So a lot of times in technology that Central IT offers, so I work for Central IT at NYU, historically we focus all of our training around how to do something. So show me the steps to post my syllabus, show me the steps to create a question pool. The interaction usually lasts for about an hour. It's very mechanical. You go through something step by step. I'll do one, then you do one. I'll stand over your shoulder. You do the task well. You post your document. You get to the end result, and then I probably don't see you again until next semester because you forgot everything. And that's typically how faculty training has been happening. So tying it back to the nutrition educators that I worked with, that they focused a lot on what's the proper way to exercise and what's the proper way to measure out vegetables for yourself and make sure you're taking care of yourself in the right way. But whenever they taught those lessons to the kids, they always paired it up with the why you should be doing it. So not only am I giving you this information to build a tool set for you to then use, I'm then motivating you to show you what you can get with that, right? So I'm not only showing you how to use this tool, so how to mechanically do something, but then hopefully by explaining why you should be doing it, that's the motivation enough to change behavior. And they had studies, so the group that I worked with at Columbia, they were sort of invented child nutrition education. back in the 70s, I think, and their studies always fall back to this point that when you're dealing with children to change their behaviors, you always have to couple the how to do something with the why to do it. So I think if we approach training like this, we're looking to help encourage faculty change their behaviors, to encourage growth within technology in their classroom. I think if we approach it from this perspective, we may get them as excited as we get excited every year when we come in and meet. That's it. Thank you.
Minute under. Amazing. Next, I would like to introduce Luisa Li, who will be talking about help documents. Luisa Li?
Yes, try to unplug it.
Okay. People who are coming up next might want to move up, sit here to the front, get up faster. That will be Jim Mezzanotte, Matt Clare, and Dede Hourican. So if you want to sit up front somewhere.
Hello everyone, I'm from Apereo College. My topic is where should we place the help document so that the faculty and the staff actually will see it and use it. Okay, so just quick question, do you know your help documents, the faculty FAQs, the student FAQs, how many student and faculty staff actually use them? Not a lot, right? So we are right now doing renovation. We try to figure out where to put it so that they can actually see it and use it. So this is what we have right now. When we go to our Sakai instance, we call it the iLearn. We put the link right underneath there, student FAQ, faculty FAQ. We did Google Analytics on the page view, and about within 1 year range, we got under 1,000 hits. So that's 1 year, pretty low. And when a student goes to this page, they can go to either of those links, right? So we thought we did pretty well. We have lots of FAQs and help documents. When they log in, okay, I think I already did. Alright, so when they log in, when they have problems, they go to this tab of My Workspace. On the side here, you have all the help documents available. Alright, so we did a quick UX test and asked them, basically we want to know how they use the help document, but we tricked them. So this is what we did. Okay. So we give them a task. We pretend we want to ask them how they use the forum tool, or how they use the resources tool. And ask them to go to the forums or go to the gradebook and do something. When they did it or they couldn't, we asked them, suppose it's 2 a.m. in the night, you need help. What would you do? So for some of them, we have to push really hard to the point that they cannot find their colleague or cannot call the help desk. They can only find their own help. So eventually, very surprisingly, we surveyed 3 groups, faculty, staff, and the students. Each group have about 6 to 10 people. I think 95% of them clicked on the help menu. Say, for example, if you go to one course, so that's the help menu. Right? This is the thing they click to find help. Right? I cannot blame them. That's a big help button right there. So they go there. So if you have used the Sakai for a while, you know how much helpful this help menu is. So we find out that this is actually where they find the help documents. So we try to do some work to it so that they can actually see our student FAQs and faculty FAQs. We did a mock-up and brought in a second group of people and see how they did. So we call it LinUX, so it's quite simple. We didn't use any mock-up professional software, so we just used the partner. So this is what we did. Okay, we show this to all the faculty and staff. Okay. So part one crashed. Give us a second. Okay. All right. When we did the US test, we set the test subject down. We used the computer in front of them, so we didn't use a project. We used the face cam to record their face and see what they think. Okay. So this is the first slide. When you log into a course, this is what they see. Okay. Then we, sorry. Okay. So when I show them, so if you click the help button, and then if you see this, what do you think? Okay, immediately, most of them, I think 100% of them, immediately like it. Because, hey, we see pictures there. So even though these are just random stock pictures, they like it so much. You see, they know where they are now. So there are students, staff, faculty, and they know where to go to. So if you go to any of those links, okay, that's the next page. All right, so they see the student resources, and if they come back, they can go to the other pages. Okay, so this is a mock-up we showed them, and we got 100% approval. So this is what we decided to do. In the new development side, we will implement this. That's it.
Thank you, Luisa. Jim Mezzanotte is next, telling us about assignments and peer review and grading.
I know I have to wait now for this to go around, so that makes me feel better. Okay, all right. Okay, so I'm Jim Mezzanotte. I'm a functional consultant at ANI International. So we have backported some of the Sakai 10 features into 2.9 instance. So this is a new feature. I'll run through it really briefly, and it's called peer review, and it lets students actually grade an assignment. So first, you'll see here is just some of the things you might see as a student in the status column that you usually have. So some of these are pretty normal, you'll see the returned. But up here, for instance, this student has just submitted assignment 4. So you're going to see this review starts, and it's going to give you the when the review period starts. Down here, this student has already submitted the peer review, so you're going to see this. And then right here is the active for, and this student has already submitted this assignment and sees, that's the only way you see this is after you submit your assignment. And also lets you know how many assignments you're supposed to review, because as an instructor you can stipulate, how many have to be reviewed by each student. So if we click on that, you'll also see you can, as an instructor, you can leave some instructions for the student reviewer. It is a rich text editor, so conceivably you could, for instance, put a link to a rubric or do something like that. It's pretty much kind of a stripped down version of what instructors see. So right here you can put your grade here. And then you'll get a rich text editor to put some comments here about, if you want to, what you want to do. You can actually save it and not submit until later. It submits automatically when the review period is up. Or you can just click submit. And go really small. Wide. And then you can, it automatically goes to the next one, so I can just do this next one if I want. So I'll just do it there. Just click submit. And that's it. One thing I forgot to show too, another thing that I'll show you in a second that you can determine as an instructor is whether or not you want this peer review to be anonymous. So the anonymous part of it works in both directions. If you are a student evaluating your work, you don't see that student's name, and if you are a student looking at peer evaluations from other people, you don't. You also don't see those names. So it's up to you as an instructor what you want to do. And that's pretty much it. And if we look at what, once peer review has happened, and as an instructor you release the grades as usual, you'll see this extra little bit here at the bottom that say peer reviews, and we give the scores for however many folks were allowed to review your work, and then those comments too. And you can see this was anonymous, so you're just going to see 1, 2, and just quickly. And so before an evaluation period is actually up, you won't be able to, with the peer evaluation period is up, you won't be able to actually grade. You see a little comment here saying, grading is disabled, so you have to wait until the review period is up, though you can change it as an instructor. And then over here you have these extra, you have a couple of extra columns. So here is a review by column. And you'll see the reviews that you have will be indicated by these check marks. You always see the students that are reviewing regardless of whether it's anonymous. So this person hasn't reviewed yet, but this person has. So I can click on that, and I can see that person's reviews. If I want to remove the review, I can do that, and then turn to the list. And then you should see, you'll see a strike through. And if I change my mind, I can restore the review. And back to here. Let's go this one here. The review period is over, so I can pretty much, you see all the things that you would usually see in the assignments tool. So you can do all the usual things, and you can grade each of these. So it's up to you whether you want to override any of these grades. You can leave them as they are, just let the student rules be the grade the students get. Or you can just go in as you usually would and grade and enter the grade that you usually want. It's up to you to release the grades and do all those things that you would normally do. So this is how it kind of inserts itself into your into your workflow. You still do all the things that you would want to do. You're going to see the grade that's been automatically inserted from the students, but you can change that and do that if you want to. And you can also switch this all up and use the screen. But yeah, you can do all the things you would usually do. And the other thing I would show you is if you have more than one student reviewing a particular assignment, it will give you the average. So whatever you have here, if you have a bunch of different students, then you'll see the reviewer grade for each and then the average for each. Although if you override it, it will show that as well. And yes, that's about it there. And I'll just edit this. You go down here to peer assessment and you click on this, and this is where you will see the extra stuff. So you can set the evaluation period always starts when the assignment can be accepted and it's closed, and then it's up to you to decide how long you want the evaluation period to go. And you can decide whether it's going to be anonymous, you can decide whether students can see those reviews or not, and how many reviews are going to be allocated to each student to review, and then any instructions that you want to do. That's it.
Questions at the end. And now we have Matt Clare, who will tell us his top 5 tips for tests and quizzes.
Encouraging my build suspense through VGA. Okay, so as that hopefully starts to load, I wanted to share my teaching hacks, not just the AO teaching hacks, but the top 5 teaching hacks in tests and quizzes. Oh, there we are. And apparently I'm sharing my desktop. Yeah, this isn't a sponsored presentation. Okay, so top 5 teaching tips, top 5 test and quizzes tips, part of my teaching hack series, which is linked up there if you're interested. I added this presentation to Lanyard. Teaching hacks isn't really like a hack, as in like a compromising security or anything like that, but more using a tool in a way it wasn't initially intended to have an interesting pedagogical effect, teaching improvement. So, the first series of teaching hacks for test and quizzes is what I call clandestine attendance tracking. So there's no attendance tool in Sakai or most LMSs, but you don't like even with mature learners, do you? Well, maybe you do or you don't. So, in my own teaching, I like to do a starting class quiz. This is a quiz that students take on their mobile device or on the computers that they may have in front of them. I particularly teach in the lab, so it's worse than that. And the topic of the quiz is last class. So whenever we come to the last class, we're going to start this class with a quiz and then a topic. I have a bunch of tools that have grown over the years. I give students random samplings, turn on all the random sampling, randomized distractors options in test and quizzes. And students get 5 minutes to answer 5 questions, and hopefully it lets them know that they understand what they're doing. If they got the concepts from last week, I give a very small percentage of the final grade. And I know who was in the room that day, because I write a password for the quiz on the whiteboard. So you filling that quiz lets me know your eyeballs are able to see the whiteboard enough to fill in there. And at least in one case, I've had a situation where a student checked out but didn't drop out of university, and mom called the chair, and oh my gosh, I know that person. Oh, that person took 1 quiz and never took another one. I think I know what happened to this person. So that was really nice in that instance. And for your regular good students, it's a great way for them to get feedback class to class of how they're doing. Another way to do clandestine attendance is what to cover today. Do a simple quiz about what needs clarification. Deliver it to your students. They can take the quizzes online. You can have that information immediately by going into the scores, clicking on their respective question, do a little bit of refreshing in Sakai. You can get a live update of what's happening. And again, doing something like a password or a similar scenario, you know who's in the room because they made this action. Long rest. You can also do check-in, check-out questions. So, 2 questions at the start, how their learning's going. Ask them to just do some free-form writing of what they've learned so far. Let them build some meaning out of reflecting on their thoughts. You're taking a record of it. You can extract what you can from that. You've probably done a lot for your students already. Just asking them to write it down. Same thing at the end of class. Say, what did you learn from today? Students have something that they've written that captures something in their own minds, and you and the student will have a record somewhere of what that student wrote down that day for what they were thinking. Course outline quiz. And this is a clever idea that I got from someone else, Boyles College, that they wanted to do a website where the only content on it was a quiz and a folder that you couldn't access yet. And besides all that, the course outline. So students are supposed to read the course outline, go to tests and quizzes, fill out the answers based on exactly what was in the course outline. What's the final grade worth? Are we using Turin or not? How many words are on the page, and all those kinds of things. And then go back to test and quizzes. So once you've answered those questions, test and quizzes, got 10 out of 10, then all the content and resources becomes available. So it's one way to ensure your students have understood that course outline before they start working with it. And they can do that, of course, with resources selected. And learning with your students, another quiz you can ask your students is get a learning profile on your students. There's a couple standards for learning profiles. Drop them into tests and quizzes, then through all the various ways to look at student responses by questions, stats. In tests and quizzes, they're intended for understanding comprehension of something being tested with your students. You can get this demographic information of the type of learning your students would prefer. And then the last thing I want to mention is that this whole test and quizzes tool could be your anonymous, impromptu, formative feedback, course evaluation. You just build it anonymous and URL. And no, it's not the best course evaluation tool. It's handy. And if you use the anonymous URL, you can broadcast it out the way students will they never log into Sakai. And that might feel more anonymous than it is. We all know it's technically anonymous, but it feels more anonymous. What's my teaching acts?
Dede Hourican will now tell us about Sakai for the prospective student.
It's not my computer, so forgive me. Hi, my name is Dede Hourican. I'm with Aurora College. I'm a support specialist. As a support specialist, I'm the person everybody calls and says, I can't use the tools in Sakai, I'm lost, what button do I click on, do I have to do this, blah, blah, blah. But I'm also the same person who they reach out to if they are not yet on campus. Quite often the operator will forward their calls to us because they don't know what to do with them. It'll be a prospective parent who's looking for assistance and not sure if little Johnny can take an online course. It will be a student who just got out of high school and is unsure if they actually got the skills to be able to take anything that has to do with technology. It can be the prospective adult student who has yet to have that opportunity to know whether they're even capable of doing this. And there's a lot of technology-shy people in the world. and a lot of them are prospective. So that's our problem, that's the wrap up. This particular presentation was made for a longer event, so I will zap through a lot of things. So I would spend about anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour on the phone, talking to these people, walking them through how to use a lesson, what a test and quiz is going to be like for your child, or better yet, your adult student who is unsure if they can actually do this because the technology they feel may have passed them by. So my question is, why are we discussing technology when we need to be displaying technology? We're not alone. There's a whole bunch of other colleges who are similar to ours who have the same issue, who are unable to get that information out to a prospective student. So our solution is to use Touch the Technology. Touch the Technology is a real course site. It's made inside what we call iLearn, which is our Sakai site. Excuse me. And it's geared towards the prospective student, and it's made using lean UX transformations. So, for example, what could be very, very text intensive is now much, much simpler. We did all this by using the anon rule. For those of you who remember it, it's been out for a long time. It isn't happy with all the tools, I'll be honest with you. It's not. It's taken a lot to get around and work through. But the anon rule was very, very helpful. This is what our original site looked like when I first tried it last year. Basically, I was rebuilding the school's website, except I was doing it inside a class, which wasn't really very helpful. But this site is much better, and I actually have it up here, so give me 1 second, I'll show it to you. And but what we did use was simplification, a very big simplification. So let me go to the real one. If I can read this one. We made a landing page as well. The landing page is also built off the same principles of being clean, neat, understandable, and not terrifying to the new user. We asked them very clearly, do you want to try something new? Don't be afraid, we're here to help. Oh, great, it died. Right. Why did you do that? Thank you. Hey, you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so this is the site that, as a landing page that I made for fun, and it does help the prospective student to see it. So you can hit continue, you can scroll down. There's some videos that we've made that are for the simplification for 1-minute video hacks on how to do the basics. What is copying and pasting? What is a browser? Most of our calls to the help desk or to myself are start off with basic things that the end user who is technology shy does not know. I'm sorry, but the difference between Windows 8, 8.1, and 7 is not something that the average user is aware of, especially if they're a parent. So we gave some videos for that. When they launch the site, here's the questions. This is a mock-up, by the way. These questions are pretty simple. It'll be too hard for my new student. It's been a long time since I sat in the classroom, and my high school didn't teach me this. They vote. They want to try it themselves, or they want me to hold their hand. If they click hold my hand, it reaches an email to our department. We reach back to them and say, hi, you having a problem? We can help you. And it just leaves us back in the same position we were before the site existed. But there's a good opportunity that they'll walk through it themselves. So we send them to the site. This is what the site currently looks like. At the moment, I'm logged in as me, so you're seeing all the tools that are hidden behind the lesson builder that are available. But we tell them to get started, take a quick look. We have some basics on how to use things, but these are just tools, and they don't have to be quite so afraid. How much time do I have left? Well, the overview of this is it's currently in a pilot phase, and we're just hoping to really bring it down to our public. Thank you. Sure, I have a minute.
So I tried to do this before, and I ran into the issue that you did with the anon role.
Uh-huh.
So what did you do extra to get around that?
Anybody seen Uday got a Henny walking around? I talked to him. No, and we went in the realms. It doesn't still like a lot of things about the assignment tool, but all the other ones, especially with Lesson Builder, worked very, very well. As a matter of fact, we just made sure that all the attributes in the realms were on for the anon. Anybody else? It's nice to meet you.
Regan will talk to us about lessons.
I've got my own ticking time clock because my battery is very low. And Windows 8 is still low. All right. This is our Sakai instance. This is a mock-up I did for one of our professors. So this professor wanted every assignment on one page and then the solution on the same page. But the solution should only be viewable once they've completed the assignment. This professor did not want resubmission, just one shot. So in this setup, it's a single lessons page. I used adding subpages, so each assignment and the link to the assignment is a subpage, and I made that, if you go to basically highlight which one's the assignment versus the solution, I set that as make it a button versus make it a link, so the assignment, the actual work, is now highlighted as a visual, so that's where they need to go. And the other items, right now I'm a faculty member, so technically I can click on any of these links, but as the student, I have to complete the assignment before the link is clickable. So these links are not clickable because I have not completed the assignments. So in this model, this is a linear model. I can't see, even if I finish assignment 3, I cannot see the solution for assignment 3 until I have submitted both assignment 1 and assignment 2. So each item in order has to be completed. So this is not good in a self-paced, do what you want kind of model. It's definitely in a structured scaffold, must finish 1 before you get to 2. The other option is much more freeform. In this situation, I'm already ahead of the game. Basically, it goes assignment 1, and then you go to assignment 2, and then you go to assignment 3, and then you go so you can see how it's stacked. So it's subpage connected to subpage connected to subpage. But in this case, if I wanted to jump to assignment 3, I could finish assignment 3 and the solution on one page. I won't have to finish assignment 1 because it's related to the page that it's on. The requirement is related to the page that it's on. So I was giving this professor multiple models depending on how they wanted to do. The professor really preferred the linear serial model, which was the one size fits all, one page fits all. This is where he decided to go. But I wanted to let you know, technically you could do a more modular, if somebody wants to jump ahead because the basics are beyond them, you can't do that. You just have to nest and have your subpages go horizontal versus vertical, if that makes sense. So that was my quick item. And to accomplish that, you require the item, which is a subpage. My network is dying. And my battery is dying. But it got me through the entire day this far, so that's a pretty good battery. But I do think the wireless network is having some challenges. But on the next page, when I add the assignment through the button, here we go. This is actually the assignment link, and then I have to require that the student submit the assignment. Additionally, I can say it must also receive a certain grade before you do that. But that means the professor has to actually go in and grade. In this case, this was a one-shot only. He didn't care, because this was more of a credit, no credit. You get credit for doing it, and that's it. But then he wanted the solution to be available right away, so they could check their work and then move on to the next one if they wanted to. But that's how you would end up doing it. So in this case, just require that they submit it, but you can optionally add more functionality. So I wanted to highlight that that conditional release option is there. There's two modes or two, approaches in the design. So hope that was perhaps interesting.
Thank you, Alan. Thanks to all our lightning professors. And time for a few questions, I think. I don't think we need to vacate right at 5. Yeah.
I just wanted to ask Jim, a question that was asked when Neil was talking about the assignments tool. If you set up an assignment for a group, then is it just people from that group that can mark it, or is anybody in the site allowed to mark it?
I was about to test that today. As far as I know, that's what it is, and I know that for some, it was suggested that would be a good workaround for. The one thing you can't do is choose who's going to assign.
Actually, answering it in the time.
Oh,
everybody. That be all right? Sure.
This doesn't seem to be.
The one thing you can't do is assign specific students to the system is going to automatically do that. I was going to do some testing today, actually, because I think that one way you could get around that is to improve targeting to lower the amount, to lower the number of people that at least is going to assign. It's a great question, so I can't say 100% for sure, but I still need to test it. I do believe that works.
Other questions?
The question was, can you target groups and assignments and have the assigning of evaluations be just within that? Because one thing you can't do with this feature is choose who it is that you want to actually evaluate this assignment. The system just automatically is going to randomly do that for you. So I think that if you have groups and you make small groups, it would at least lower the number of random assignments in the system.
Thank you. Other questions? Anyone for any presenters? And I guess the thunderstorm is over. See you again tomorrow, same time.